character backstory of him, and the action is great. I think Affleck shoots great action. I think the shootout at the bank robbery in the beginning is great.
Oh yeah.
It's like the second best opening bank robbery since The Dark Knight. Like it's so fast paced and it's brutal, and like it's kind of raw and clunky and stuff like that. And
it really sets the tone for the movie too.
Yeah. And the thing that I like about this movie a lot is I like how it's not flashy, you know, like there's no dynamic camera moves. There's no like, there's a great scenes, but like the cinematography isn't nothing spectacular, and it really sets the tone of this being like a grounded, down home Boston crime, you know, like like a hard hitting crime drama packed with great performances and great shootouts. The final shootout is amazing. Yeah, you know. So
yeah, I'd have to agree. They do like. I think what's so great about this film is the incredible attention to the small things, the details. They come out in the end, and even like little subtle things like just the graininess, the texture of the film itself. They turn, they desaturate everything. Even the opening credits, what was it, like Legendary Pictures, and it's a Warner Brothers, right? Yeah, they desaturated those logos, and you flow right into the film, and they keep that consistency so well. And and you said that you think this is your favorite Ben Affleck film, right?
I think this is. I love Gone Baby Gone. Gone Baby Gone is so good. The dialogue in it is amazing, and I like Argo. Although subsequent reviewings, it's sort of gone down a peg with me. I don't think it should have won Best Picture, but that's for another time. But yeah, I just like how the town. You know, the thing that I like about it a lot is that it takes these cliche cop tropes of the robber with the heart of gold and the hard-edged, no-nonsense cop chasing him and stuff like that, and it plays them straight, and it doesn't try to reinvent them. It doesn't try, you know, but at the same time, like, it doesn't pander to them. It just plays them straight, and it plays them as it is, and there's something to admire about that, you know. It's, you know, it's got the cliche hot-headed robber and Jeremy Renner, but there's some nuance there, and there's some depth to his character, and like the more you watch the movie and you watch his performance, the more you see that like this is a guy who is constantly having to rein himself in, and whenever chance he gets to let loose, he lets loose.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know? He goes 100.
Yeah, and like, you know, just like there's this great scene where he and Ben Affleck are talking, and they're arguing back and forth, and you can just see he's like restraining himself to not go off on Ben Affleck, and you can see the sheer uncomfortableness in his face as Ben Affleck's just wailing on him, and he's holding himself back, and
is that the
cemetery scene?
Yeah.
That's when he pulls out the gun.
Yeah. Until he pulls out the gun and pistol whips him, you know. Yeah. And you see that this guy he can snap at a moment's notice, and he's so unreliable. And then there's that great bit where they go to the guy's apartment, and they bust in the guy's apartment, and he shoots the guy in the legs. Yeah. And Ben Affleck's like, man, you can't be, you know, killing people up there. And he's like, well, you brought me, so
yeah. He's like, you knew what you were bringing.
Yeah. And so, you know, like even he's aware of it, and he makes no apologies for it. And like it's stuff like that, you know, it's so small, as you were saying, Wesley. It's those small character details that like Affleck adds in the script that he co-wrote, and it just adds more depth and character to it.
Yeah.
What about you, James?
I enjoyed it. I haven't seen this in a long time.
This is your pick.
This is my pick.
This is his pick for the week.
I haven't seen it probably maybe in like 3 years, probably. But yeah, I really like how you have those two in the heist unit, where you have, how you said, Ben Affleck's like more the cool-headed. They call him like the architect. He's the guy who builds everything, who sets everything up, and then you have his best friend, who's been his best friend for when they were little kids. and he's like you said, is the hothead, and he's always
James, right? Is his name?
Yeah,
James Coughlin,
yeah, and he's always trying to calm him down. He's probably the only guy who, out of their group or whatever, who he actually listens to, because he calls him his brother. You know, he's like his brother, and I like that that dynamic that those two have, because you can tell that Ben wants to get out, and Jeremy Renner's character is the one who's like, you're not leaving, like we need you, like you're the one who does everything. We're just like basically the muscle or the people who get in, but he's the brains behind everything.
Yeah, it's crazy toward that cemetery scene, because it seems like James, or Jeremy Renner's character, wants to manipulate him by using his ex and his ex's kid as leverage, saying, "No, I can't let you walk out on this. This is your family. This is your family. So I'm gonna restrain you, and it's gonna be because of that." And that's when Ben Affleck gets super pissed, or Doug. He gets pissed at him. He's like, "Hey, like all you care about is Coke and Xbox or whatever. Like don't try to sit here and say
don't preach to me.
That you have a heart now." Or
And then to add on to that, I think he brings it up like two times before the cemetery scene, about how like he's been waiting for Ben Affleck's character for like 9 years, and you don't know what that means. And then he drops that bomb that, hey, there was this guy that was going to kill you, and I found out about it, and I killed him for you. And so like you can tell that like he's trying to use every trick that he can,
kind of guilt him into it, to him staying, or to at least doing one more heist. And
and like you can see that like without Ben Affleck, Jeremy Renner's character isn't as integral probably to the team.
No, he's basically he's like the dog you let loose.
Yeah, he like without
the muscle.
Like without Ben Affleck, he's sort of kind of like a liability kind of, and Ben Affleck is the one that keeps him in check and keeps him reined in, and without him, that guy doesn't have anything else,
to hold him back.
And then I like how you guys brought up the Jeremy Renner's sister and the child, and I like how they don't make it exactly clear if that is Ben Affleck's kid or not.
Yeah.
And you can sort of read into it as maybe that is his kid.
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't.
He's denying it, and maybe that isn't his kid, and she's using that leverage over him because she really wants to be with him. And it helps that Blake Lively is really good in this movie.
She's tore up in this movie.
She's really hot too. And also John Hamm is great in this movie as like this no sense cop, and there's that great Heat type scene of John Hamm and Ben Affleck in the interrogation room, and John Hamm has this whole speech about how Ben Affleck is going to die in prison, and how what he's doing is nothing new, stuff like that. And, and it's great. And then Chris Cooper comes in, and I fucking love Chris Cooper, and he comes in as Ben Affleck's dad, and like in that one scene, he just steals the movie.
I love
he's
him.
So cold and calculated and matter of fact about it, and he's like, and you can tell of that interesting dynamic of him having that secret of how the Ben Affleck's mom was on drugs and keeping that from his kid, and the way
you can tell that's why he was an asshole to him.
And
like,
the weight that has carried with him all through those years, and how like even then when Ben Affleck is asking how come he didn't look for her, he still has to put on that facade of like, your mother was a fucking junkie and she didn't care about you, when in actuality it's his fault that she got on the drugs and stuff like that. And and there's so much, like I keep saying, there's so much depth to all this that really rises it above the sort of paint by numbers cop movie that we keep seeing over and over again.
I really like that one part when you're talking about when John Hamm is interrogating Affleck, and then he does that whole speech about how you said, you're gonna die in prison and everything, and then Ben Affleck comes out like, well, next time you guys want to take a picture of me, let me know so I can set up a nice little setup for you.
Not just a barbecue.
Not just a barbecue. I can oil up if you guys are into that.
And then there's another great scene where his partner is being forced to read all those things, and the cop is like, oh, you guys can't read and you're not smart, and then he throws out that like word of trying to make it authenticious, and the cop is like, wait, what does that mean? You know, like it's such great, like it's small details like that like really help push this movie above a convention.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely. I want to go back to the prison scene real quick because I don't know if you guys knew this, but that was a real. The real prison they shot in. Yeah, and I think that was real, like in the beginning, that establishing shot, those are real prisoners. When he comes in, that's a real guard up on the top. It's all, pretty much grounded. And then, what was I going to say? When he walks through and you see he's about to meet his dad, Chris Cooper's character, they do this really like subtle reflection on each other. It switches the shot. I don't know if you guys saw that, but in the it's like Ben Affleck's looking at him, and then you can see like his reflection kind of overlapping. And I feel like that's kind of to symbolize that they're father and son. And it just was like, that blows me away that there's so much detail put into this. You know what I mean? And I'm just glad that so many people liked it, because I think that was one of the top movies of that year. Yeah, for sure.
I don't think it was nominated for Best Picture though. Was it?
I don't know.
I know Jeremy Renner got an Oscar nom for Best Supporting.
Yep.
Which is a great pick.
He's
great.
I think he holds this movie together, honestly.
Yeah. I think him and Ben Affleck are like the two people that hold it together. And then I also want to talk about Rebecca Hall, because who is the love interest to Ben Affleck, because she really has a lot to do with her role, and that she has to make you believe that she isn't suspicious of Ben Affleck, and that like she can wholeheartedly fall for her, and then has to change those emotions on a moment's dime, like as soon as she hears that he's a suspect. And you can see it in that scene of her just
in the bathroom.
Well, like even with the scene of when John Hamm comes to her apartment and like feeds her the photos of like all four, and she sees Jeremy Renner, Ben Affleck's character, and she's like, and she's and you can see her reaction in her face.
She's like, oh shit.
Yeah, and she's terrified, and then that bathroom scene, and you can just see that whole like emotion of her feeling being taken advantage of and being toyed with and being played with, and like it's a great performance that I think is sort of overlooked in this movie, and she also holds together the film too, because like if her chemistry wasn't with Ben Affleck, the movie would fall apart.
Yeah, because the movie
it sort of hinges on that romance. Like that's the hook. Like,
that's the spine, is that subplot of the romance.
Like aside, like if you take that out, it's just a generic incompetent made action crime film. But since it has that hook in it, that makes it a different movie. It's got that extra edge, and if that hook isn't as believable as all the other stuff, it's just it feels tacked on, and it feels like added weight that doesn't need to be there.
And she really kills it with the like the post-traumatic stress. You can really feel it. You know what I mean, in the flashbacks and everything, because what they do to her in the beginning is pretty fucked up.
It's pretty messed up.
And then when you find out later, I don't know if they say that Jeremy Renner's character said this, but she tells John Hamm's character, the cop, they said, did they say anything to you? And she said, one of them said, if you go to the cops and say anything, we're gonna go to your house and fuck you and kill you. And then they immediately cut to a shot of Jeremy Renner. So I'm assuming because he's a hothead that he said that, because he, if you notice, he's the only one really screaming at the people, saying, "Get the fuck down, shut the fuck up." Is this guy a fucking friend of yours?
Yeah, he's the one who beats up the manager.
Yeah, he's just very fucking sloppy
and
all
then,
over.
Like it's so ironic how like she says that, and then it's Ben Affleck the one that ends up screwing her over, and like actually fucking her and then screwing her over because he took her as a hostage. And so it just it plays into that whole idea of her going through like all these range of emotions, and then like at the end when she takes the money that he gave her and submits it as an anonymous donation in form of his mom, like it sort of brings that full circle, I thought. So
you really get to see in parts of the movie when Renner is talking to Affleck and he's asking him, did you take care of what the ID problem? And he's like, do I need to take care of it? And he keeps on. Every once in a while he keep on bringing it up. Like, you know, do I need to go there? You know, do I need to, you know?
Oh well, it's because he's scared because she mentioned that she saw his Boston Celtics tattoo.
Yeah.
Right? Is it?
But yeah, it's a Celtics. Yeah, the Fighting Irish or Notre Dame.
Yeah.
But does Ben Affleck ever tell him?
No.